chosen to make them their dump places or dumping places where they go and dump all of that stuff. But what about people who live right next to where you're actually, or you have been actually throwing all of this rubbish as well? Because I go through this every day, and I've been telling people around my neighborhood that please do not do that, because otherwise, what are the chances of do we have of probably cleaning it? Because it's so much of rubbish out there. So other than burning, we are not left with any other choice. I'm guilty of that. They have to tell people to collect it and then burn it too as well, because half of the time when we call the authorities to come and pick it up, they're like, oh, sir, 1000 rupiya de dein, sir, 2000 de dein.
See, that's really bad as well. They shouldn't be asking for bribes. But another thing is that we also have, we have access to internet. We can find out what to do. So if people are not doing the supposed jobs and responsibility, then it's our responsibility to look after our nation.
Exactly, that's what it is. And since it is our responsibility, being the younger segment of the society, well, I think I'm somewhere, I'm sailing in 2 boats at the moment, but it's perfectly all right as far as you're doing something betterment for the betterment of your country. So let's see, Ma, what are we doing today?
Okay, so we're going to be highlighting, as you mentioned already, the people that are doing a lot of work within Pakistan. They are inviting people to the country. They're talking about the issues, and these are not just issues within our nation. These are issues that people are facing in different countries. It's across the board as well. But the thing is, it's about projecting and giving an opportunity to the youth in Pakistan, because if people think that they come from a war-torn country where they have no education, no opportunities, and they're just going to be radicalized, then the world is going to be prejudiced against them.
Exactly, that's what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, on my right-hand side, we have been
after a long time.
Yeah, after a long time, we have been joined by somebody who's actually the founder of CSRP, which means Center for Sustainability Research and Practice, and he was the one that, because of his efforts, this first of its kind International Youth Summit took place over here in Pakistan, where people from 40 different nationalities flew on their own expenses to Pakistan and went around and discussed. But what did they discuss? This is something which he'll be telling. He's none other than Mr. Naseem Khan Achakzai. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalam.
Sange pira khairam barabar de.
Theek thak,
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting
me. And alongside
me
Mr. Naseem Khan Achakzai, ladies and gentlemen, this lady over here, obviously she's representing the youth of Pakistan.
Yes.
Has been around Pakistan on a motorbike, then on a cycle as well. She's went to the north area, she went to Punjab. But lately, she's been to Bahrain, and she was riding a 900cc Harley Davidson, moving around the city and doing quite a lot of stuff. She's none other than Miss Gulafsha Tariq. Hello, how are you, Gulafsha? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
Good, thank you so much for coming back and
put
joining
in
us.
so much energy. Assalamu alaikum.
I know, I really feel bad when guests are...
the reaction is,
okay, well, it's very early in the morning, so it's absolutely fine. We'll wake them up. But I want to get started with you, Naseem. We had the first ever conference. Tell us, what was that about?
So it was basically, to start off with, I think it is time to rebrand the image of Pakistan. And that is to be rightly done by the young people like us, actually. So this was the first ever International Youth Summit, which was basically a Pakistani initiative. Being partnered with, facilitated by the government and Pakistani institutions, be it universities or for the very first time, we had 2 district councils as the partners as well. So you haven't heard a district council being a partner in an International Youth Summit. People do not correlate it, but it is directly related.
District council.
It's, there is a direct relevance in it.
Okay, we'll talk about that too in a minute.
Yeah, so for the very first time, and then the concept is a week-long summit. So you've heard of conferences 2 days, for 3 days. This is what, because we want to have a network. I mean, it took us 5 years to reach this point in time where people from 40 different nationalities for the very first time came to Pakistan. So it's a tough, it was a tough job to do, to convince them that, Pakistan is what, what you see through, I don't want to name the channels, through them. So,
I can do that, Fox News.
Oh, yeah. That is one of that.
Yeah.
So, and the 3 main themes that we looked at were young people and the sustainable development goals, which is very much important for Pakistan. And then all of us young people have to understand what basically those 17 goals are. What can we do? Policies, are we into the policy making when it comes to sustainable development goals or not? And then our role as young people when it comes to peace building, because The problems that we have faced in the past decade have actually, that has been very, that has destroyed the social fabric, one, of the society, and secondly, young people especially. For instance, the province that I come from, we have seen wars from 2 decades, right? So, once you live in that particular society, when you grow up there, you have that mentality.
You want things to change.
Yeah, you want things to change. So, these young people came in. I mean, all the big countries, you name any, Russia, Poland, Australia, US, Britain, whatever, they flew in. People who have the thought, they won't come. So I'm just bluffing around and people won't come. When they came and landed, people started calling to ask if people have arrived, and then everyone wanted to come. So we let them in because we wanted them to interact. So it was a week-long summit, and then we were all over Lahore. We went to Kasur, we went to Narwal, where people say that Pakistan isn't safe. So if it wasn't safe, then we wouldn't have been to Bulleh Shah for a Qawwali, and then we went to Darbar Kartarpur in Narwal. We showed them a kabaddi match, and it was very lovely to see. So then Lahore, obviously the history and all the communities and the institutions who actually met them. So the main idea was to have a Pakistani event which is being held every year. So we have, for instance, if you talk of One Young World, they have a brand being developed, but it is not, although Pakistan is represented, but it is not shown as the way it should have been. So this is something we did.
Okay, we'll definitely dig quite a lot into it, how many segments were there within the first summit, and what did you guys do for a week longer time period. But as a matter of fact, for all of those people who flew to Pakistan, what was in it for them?
For them, yeah, so why a week long? For instance, if you want people to come on their own, and we actually wanted them to take ownership. For instance, something which comes for free, for instance, if we would have sponsored their tickets, this and that, it would just have been another conference where people come, speak, and then at the end of the day, the conference fizzles out, no longer term impact. So for them, it was to see the culture, the tradition, tourism was one of the attraction. And secondly, we wanted them to see, for instance, if you as young people have this commitment, to change the world. For instance, if you talk of this, you have to actually, what you preach, you do as well. So their commitment was being shown when they came to this summit. And trust me, they were all, they would go to the embassy every day to ask about their visas.
All right.
Some of our embassies were very helpful, but others were, very reluctant. All these young people going on, why are they going this and that? So they were so serious that every day they would give me drop me a message or give me a call that we went to the embassy. They said this. So a tourism, we wanted them to see this side of the country. For instance, if you talk of sustainable development goals sitting back in New York, it's something different. But if you come to Kasur and talk of sustainable development goals, what is being done, how do you end hunger, poverty, this and that.
And so it's really important because that's the thing. I think a lot of the times we're always discussing it from a very privileged point of view. And, at the end of the day, very few people get to go to these places because a lot of them don't need clearance to go anyway. So when you are on another visa and it's a tourist visa, you're able to see what the ground reality is. And then you get to see where, our campaigns, our approach completely relevant or not. But we will come back to the conference. I just want to bring Gul Afshan to the conversation. Amazing, again, representing Pakistan. You are part of this youth that everyone talks about. Everyone, more or less. I mean, Shahzada's keeping me lodged into the youth segment. But the thing is, going abroad, why do you think now, now you've done something different, you've done paragliding, you've done biking, you've tried to promote your culture as well as Pakistan. Why did you go to Bahrain? What was the point?
Yeah, actually, basically, my aim is to travel around the world, and my world tour is planning, and it will be, start in the end of next year, because due to the visa processes and all that. But it was a trial base for me as well for Bahrain, that what if I'm going to represent abroad, what are the, the hurdles I will be facing. So it was 1 week trip to explore whole Bahrain, to meet their, Bahraini peoples and Indians and Pakistani and Bangladeshi, and to represent Pakistani women, that yes, this is how we live here.
Okay.
Which,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, when you decided that you wanted to do this world tour, what is the purpose behind it? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we've been here. You know, you've been on our show multiple times. You know,
Yeah.
really promoting sports and Pakistan, and you know, even for the girls around you as well. So, like, you guys can do this. It's okay. Now, why have you decided to step out of Pakistan? What's the purpose behind it?
Yeah, the basic aim was when I was, you know, riding my motorbike in Pakistan, also was that to promote the soft image around the globe, that this is our culture, this is our traditions in the form of documentaries or videos. Then I decided to, you know, drive motorbike abroad so that they can feel, they can interact that yes, like, you know, in real form, you know, by face-to-face interaction, discussion about the, I feel really glad to see there that Pakistani and Indian bonding abroad, how they, you know, drive motorbike and they arrange a whole rally for me, around about 20 to 30 peoples.
Wow.
And they mix Pakistani, Bangladeshi
Yeah,
and Indians.
Okay.
But it might be very
There's
different.
unity.
Yeah, it might be very different riding a bike in Bahrain versus in Pakistan
Yes,
as well.
so
Because over here in Pakistan, honestly, I'm going to say it out loud as well. That is that, you know, if I'm going to see a woman riding a bike, I'll take pride in it as well. But then there are other people who, when they take a look, they probably start driving or probably chasing her too as well. How was it in Bahrain?
Yeah, in Bahrain it was really different from here because you know, the people, they are used to it, but not by any Pakistani or, you know, in a Asian girl.
Okay.
There are some foreigner girls who rode motorbike with
look
their
at
Oh,
Yeah.
we've got your pictures too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How was that? Whose Harley Davidson was it? He's got a bigger heart.
Yeah, an Indian guy actually gave me this Harley for this ride, so that I can, you know, drive it around whole Bahrain.
Wow, it is just amazing. And just let us know about the Pakistan Book of Records as well. You are their Goodwill Ambassador. You hold their
Yes.
3 national,
Records.
what do we call them?
Records.
Records as well. Well, tell us about all of these 3 records. And then how did you get to be the Goodwill Ambassador of Pakistan Book of Records?
Yeah, actually I broke first record in 2015, that was cycling from here Islamabad to Khunjrab Pass.
yeah.
And the second one was my solo paragliding, you know, jump from 7,800 feet from Kaklasht. And the third one is the biggest one, that was 20 days motorbike ride in whole Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province to promote their soft image.
Okay, now this is
But
really
before
amazing.
you ask a question,
Okay.
I'm very sorry.
Yes.
Is it your helmet? Because
Yeah,
it looks like as if it's going to fit me.
Yeah, it's my
That
Wow,
was a
that's
pretty big
cool.
one. Okay, so now, okay, this is really wonderful, and we will come back to you and ask you a few more questions regarding your world tour as well. But I want to bring this back to you, Naseem. Like, you've had the conference, we have Gulafsha doing this. Now, you know, she wanted to show the world that this is Pakistan, but is this Pakistan as well? Girls on motorbikes, and, you know, are we going towards that progression, or what's happening?
Or the people who came in from 40 different countries, what did they have to say?
Yeah, because the thing is, when you rebrand something, you want it to be the truth, because otherwise rebranding doesn't stick, and then you become a hollow showpiece.
It's like doing it again and again. For example, you're taking out juice out of the apple, you put it in the juicer, and you're like, yeah.
So this is Pakistan.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Well,
And,
yes, we got.
what we did was also Pakistan. So diversity comes in. There are ills in every society. You know, you cannot just say that, you know, everything is cool and everything is fine. Incidents do happen. They happen everywhere. So specifically, you know, when you are stuck between the bad and the good, so we are being misrepresented in a way where our weight is more in the bad circle, right?
All right.
But that is not the case, to be very honest. There are some areas which are being affected. But for instance, if she says that, you know, she went all over Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, now she went and she is still alive right here sitting with us. Now there is an impression that all the women are being jailed inside. If that was the reality, she wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't
But what
have
about
gone.
the argument that this is one story where, I mean, we've got your whole story.
Or
It
a
wasn't-
privileged background.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. So,
Yeah.
like, so what about that argument? That okay, that's one story. It's a country of 200 million.
Yeah, I mean, that is one another side of the story as well. But for instance, what do we do about it is the
Okay.
question.
Okay.
This is the main thing.
Yeah.
So every person segment of the society, be it the government, be it the civil society, be it the media, be it the young people on their own. So they're trying to do something in collaboration, or But the only problem that I see is there is no collective effort.
Okay, so thank you so much for highlighting that. So now you did the conference, and it's about, when we were discussing this before the show as well, just in the build-up to all of this, it's about, you were talking about the role and the responsibility of the youth. So you have to educate them and tell them the sustainable development goals in order for them to know what kind of life that they should expect and they deserve. But then when you have so many issues to such level, and you have that, not division, but it is to a certain degree, it's about, a lot of the time it does become then about self-promotion and kind of, and at the end of the day, everyone has to earn their bread and butter, so you can't criticize anyone for wanting to do that. But what does one do when you have these economic, social factors, but then you need unity in order to...
Because everybody's got situations on their hand as well.
When you do such a thing, for instance, right, bread and butter is something that you can earn, you can make something home. But for instance, if you look at different examples of young people who have taken initiatives, right? So, for instance, just like we started, volunteering, and then people used to ask, at the end of the day, what are you taking home?
Yeah.
So at that time, seriously, to be very honest, we didn't have any idea. Yeah. With time, it became a profession. It started to pay back in material forms as well. And then on the other hand, people would appreciate, and then we would do more. It served as a motivation as well. So when we talk of these young people, and then making them understand what the realities are, what you can do, or what we as people can do, is one thing is there's a huge disconnect between the society and the young people.
Okay, yeah.
A huge disconnect, especially if you talk of the Pakistani society. We always talk and glorify that young people are the future. Yeah. They're not actually the future; they are the present.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't like this phrase either.
The future. So when does the future come?
Yeah. When we are old enough, and then we start calling our kids the future of
the future. Then we'll call them the future, right?
Yeah.
Very well said.
This is the future actually. We are the present, because if we do not do it now, then when we talk of problems that when the next generation wouldn't have water to drink, they wouldn't have climate change, this and that, everything that we talk about. So this is actually the time. So it's not bad to earn. Yeah,
I truly get the point that we need to start doing it now. We'll definitely get back to the conference, but as in whenever we say that we are rebranding or we're coming up with a newer image or a better image, I think we have to connect with the outer world as well. And since you said that we have a disconnect, or the youngsters have a disconnect with the society, I think with the global society we do have a disconnect too as well. So before coming back to where 40 people flew in, I just want to ask Gul Afsha, how was it when you met the Indians, and when you met the Bangladeshis and the Bahraini people and people from all over the world who were over there and were a part of your clan, which was actually being led by you?
Yeah, it feels
I
really
like
great.
that. Yeah, it was proper auntie. Yeah. Go ahead.
Because I was the only lady in the whole ride, and everybody was really taking care of mine that I will be fine, because it was first time that I'm driving Harley Davidson 900cc direct from 150 to 900cc. was really big step for me. So they were guiding me, you have to drive carefully, these are the rules in the group of form, like how you're going to lead the rally and each thing. So yeah, it was really good. And Bangladeshis and Indians, they both were really friendly with me. They were treating me like their sister, and they were representing their country, and I was representing my country. So there was a mixed discussion that you eat golgappas with only the sauces, but we have water as well. So it was like that. Wow. So it was a very interesting discussion.
All right, amazing that is. And since it's a moment of delight and happiness as well for everybody who's out there, because we're celebrating what Gul Afsha just did and what Achakzai Sahab just did. So we've got that. My producers have actually looked into what I wanted to do
today. And this,
thank you.
And this is the thing, the track that Shahzad has been dancing to all morning, it's also been done by young people, and they're all Pakistanis, and they're homegrown talent. They've stayed in Pakistan, and they're trying to make something over here, and it's a unified effort. There's a lot of unity I'm seeing within the film industry.
Yeah, so this song is actually from the film Parchi, and it has been sung by Sahara UK. So all of these guys who were actually being originally produced by RDB. You might have heard the song, but this song being in Pakistani film is great. Go listen to it. Let's dance.
Yeah, Manch Music, Nindi Core, Sahara. Kudi nachdi kamal kagare da bura haal Katrina vargi chaal billo hai Kudi nachdi kamal kagare da bura haal Katrina vargi chaal Kudi nachdi kamal kagare da bura haal Katrina vargi chaal billo hai पट्टी किदा जावे देखो टप्पी नाले शॉट टिकला जगदी ओ आज चुप नी मैं बैरायो दा नंबर मैं लेना तेरी कगरे च हॉट लगदी कुड़ी नचदी कमाल कगरे दा बुरा हाल कतरीना वर्गी चाल बिल्लो हाय कुड़ी नचदी कमाल कगरे दा बुरा हाल कतरीना वर्गी चाल बिल्लो बोटियां ने गल्ला मेरी सामने ना मारवे पता मैनू एक एक गल दा तेरा नी घूमना तू लेके पावे गड्डी जेही कार वे चक नहीं सकदा तू मेरा नखरानी जा कोई मौका पर ले जाऊं जा किधरे सेट तेरे कारे विच लने तू लाल पावे बैठ अज सा चढ़ना तेरा उत्ते थल्ले वे नचदी दा मेरा लगदा कमा ओ वेख मेरा लाल कगरा ओए ओ वेख मेरा लाल कगरा बिल्लानी तेरा लाल कगरा बिल्लानी तेरा लाल कगरा ਜਦੋਂ ਉੱਚਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬੁਰਾ ਹਾਲ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਬਿੱਲੋ ਹਾਏ ਕੁੜੀ ਨੱਚਦੀ ਕਮਾਲ ਕਗਰੇ ਦਾ ਬੁਰਾ ਹਾਲ ਕਤਰੀਨਾ ਵਰਗੀ ਚਾਲ ਬਿੱਲੋ ਹਾਏ
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this was Hi Below.
Yes.
Yeah, I think from the film Parchi, which is yet to hit the cinemas as well. But other than that, because earlier we were talking about a disconnect and whatnot. But Ma, how do you think that our cinema or the younger people who are producing such amazing films is actually going to get us connected with the global society?
Because at the end of the day, look, it's not this is catered for the youth. It's for Pakistan. It's about promoting, something positive and actually just entertaining people. Because at the end of the day, film industry is also there to entertain. And like everyone gets very judgmental, but we need to kind of just take a step back and relax a little bit. But anyway, now Shazad, you wanted to talk about the disconnect and
Yeah,
the
so now,
internationally.
yeah, earlier since obviously Guli Afsha told us that everybody was looking after her, they were telling her or guiding her. So that means that whenever we are traveling, it's not about who you are, where you are from, or what color you are. Everybody's just together. So over here, in your case, Mr. Achakzai, what happened when the first of its kind summit took place? 40 people from different countries flew into Pakistan, and while the conference was going on, what did you get to learn about the disconnect, or was it really a connect or a disconnect?
Yes, so when we talk of the young ones, when we talk of the young people who came in, so there was a huge disconnect, basically, to be very honest. I mean, me not knowing a lot of stuff about, what's new in Russia, for instance. What is their foreign policy looking at? The US, we obviously know because we have a relation. We had a relation, we have a relation, we on and off. Then the South Asian region in specific. So the disconnect basically is between the young people, which I noticed when I'm talking of young people, is the Central Asian states. When we talk of the one belt, one road, CPEC, this and that, connecting all of this. But there was an Italian delegate who is doing her PhD in one belt on one belt, one road in China.
Okay.
She knew more than what we knew.
Oh, okay, wow.
What is one belt, one road? What is the history, this and that? Where did CPEC come? And what's the concept of connecting people through road? So there was a disconnect, but there was misconceptions as well, confusions as well. once we land in Pakistan, that thing is here. You know, is it safe? If I have, for instance, someone asked, I have a flight at 2 a.m. in the morning, so would it be okay to, you know, so Lahore is Lahore, for instance. I mean, come on. So that was something that they had in their mind. But for instance, Lahore is just a city. You know, if you make them sit in just a hotel and you know all the flashy things going on, they don't see the outer world. So once they moved to the countryside, then we saw another disconnect, which was then somehow connected. Why? Because they saw it with their own eyes. You know, if I show them 100 videos, this is what is happening, is not the reality.
So they experienced it.
So they experienced it the way they were welcomed. You know, all these people, they intermingled in a way where you know they were being welcomed and they loved to be welcomed. So this disconnect was somehow, you know, because it wasn't a huge initiative. You say that the impact was so big because limited number of people could interact within a limited time. So there is a problem that we do not have understanding when it comes to you know, all these issues that we have, and especially the role of young people.
Okay, now the thing is, you've highlighted a very good point, the fact that the youth abroad seems to have a disconnect from the youth in other countries, and it's very important for youth around the world to kind of unify if we're going to go forward. Because like you said, they're not the future, they're the present, because they're here right now. Now, the thing is, when it comes to this disconnect, especially in the age of technology, with media having such a role, how do you think we can now go forward? And because, you know, there's this internationally as well, when, you know, with all the journalists, I feel there's a certain, like, there should be a debate, or there is with some of them, that, you know, to what extent do you highlight the problems? Because then you're creating issues for people who are living abroad as well. Then they have this just one, you know, single dimension image. So who breaks that? Because the youth of Pakistan, like you said, first of all, within themselves, they're not united and they have their own agendas because of whichever reasons. So how are you supposed to get this image across and show people, look, this is also happening. This is a very true reality. This is not just a privilege. Like, even in rural communities, people are still getting on with their lives.
But I think summits like these are actually going to help in connecting people together as well. And other than that, there are other platforms too.
What do you think?
There's full moon, there's half moon too as well. As a matter of fact, these are tools.
Yeah.
So talking of the Pakistani perspective, one, and what we do. For instance, if the Russians, once the Russians introduced themselves, they said that we are from Russia, you know, this is the gang from Russia that came. So 3 young ladies who came from Russia. Once we introduce ourselves, let me be very frank and honest. Young people, I was like this once as well. 8 years ago, I had this same hyper-nationalism within me, which came from there. Once we introduce ourselves, we don't say, you know, I'm the Pakistani. So, for instance, if we are an international platform, we say I'm from Pakistan, and then all of a sudden we start looking for people from our own area. So, what province, and then what caste are you from, and then it comes to religion, and then the divide within that, and you go and reach your home, right? So, they don't do it. They never did it. You are an Australian, oh, okay, all right. I don't ask you about what your caste is, what your religion is, do you
Which
practice
area
it,
you're
know, here, this comes in, and then all of a sudden we are being reminded of our rich history. This is what the Mughals did. This is what the Pashtuns did. We conquered this, we conquered. That is past.
I mean, it's not
that is
just-
gone. What do we do now? We are in. If I talk about the rich history that once we were ruling the subcontinent, that is over. What are we doing now? We have a huge problem. So you introduced yourself. As a nation, so you know, people take you as a nation.
Exactly.
This is I have felt it because I've been working with the young people. All of a sudden, within this conference as well, because we had young Pakistanis from all over, the rural and the urban part as well. So 2 of them, I know, I was observing it. So 2 of them from, I won't name the area, but they were actually mingling up with the Pakistanis. I caught them and I said, bro, they are here, they'll be living here. Go and talk and interact with them, the people who have flew in from miles away. So you talk and understand what they have to say. Tell them about your area, what have you been doing, you know, the initiative there and then. you'll be here with the Pakistanis, don't matter. If you love them so much, you could have worked
But I
previously.
think the problem over here lies within the society, because even when you go for a rishta, you know, that's what they ask, okay, you know.
Sayyid family or
yeah,
not?
which family are you from, or do you have these traditions within your family, or probably the guy owns his own house or not. So we drop ourselves down to such a level where it's very hard to get up. But now, let's just very quickly, because we have to wrap up the show as well in the next 5 minutes, very quickly tell us about the contents of the summit which took place, or how many different themes were there to it, and what was the outcome?
The three broader themes that we looked at were first the Sustainable Development Goals and the role of young people, special focus on women. So the ratio of men and women in this conference was a 60-40. 60 was for the women, basically.
Wow.
You know, to have that sense being developed as well. Then we looked at role of young people and in peace building, because that is one of the key issues. If you don't have peace, Sustainable Development Goals is a question mark, achieving those. And then education, and then the startups, you know, connecting people through startups and using technology. So we came up with some good projects as well.
Okay, but the thing is, then we have a few minutes. But what I want to ask is that you discussed all these things, and we've had multiple, you know, over the course of 4 years, multiple people have been on the show, they've had conferences. But now, what is the practical implication of everything that you've learned and you've had? Because we can talk about and have conferences every day, all year round.
So look into the camera and
tell
tell everyone.
Tell us.
Yes, so concrete steps that we wanted took out of this. For instance, we started off with, in 2012, we started a South Asian Youth Conference series. It went to all other SAARC countries. When it started, we had a South Asian Youth Coalition being built. On that particular you know, platform, we built up this international one. A lot of projects came out from that. So from this, what we just did, in March we'll be having the you know, post summit summer camp in the north, where all these people come. 3 different cultural exchanges with 3 different countries, Jordan and 2 others, have been planned already. We send our young ones there, and they bring in there. So these started because this is you know, what the immediate step that in our own capacity we can take, and then, you know, convincing the government, you know, to facilitate. Then we are about to start this, since we, you know, practically and, you know, physically meeting every now and then is quite different, because you have to look at your resources as well. So we are starting an internet radio, which connects all of us. We do shows together.
Excellent.
So that is being done. So we discuss education. You know, if someone is sitting in Russia, we can connect through that, and then it is being streamed.
Fantastic.
Use of technology.
Okay, and is there anything else, like, I mean, so how are you going to keep these people, the Pakistani youth, engaged and unified through this platform?
Yeah, for when it comes to Pakistan, so we're looking at an inter-provincial youth summit.
Great.
In March.
Wonderful. And
so we build up for that.
Okay, excellent.
For the next international one.
Okay, and we will be giving you, like, you know, sharing any information if there's anything to share as well. So, Gulafsha,
future plans.
Yes, the world tour. When, how long for? And what is the end goal of all of this?
Yeah, basically, I want to, you know, interact with different peoples from different areas, from different countries, their religion, their, you know, culture, and to give a soft image of Pakistan. That yes, girls in Pakistan can live like this. There are different regions, and I already make different documentaries in each region. So I will, you know, show them those documentaries.
Wonderful. And okay, so now that's the ambassador work that you're doing, which is fantastic, and, you know, we commend you for that, and, you know, we appreciate you come here and you fill us in every time, which is great. But then, how about back home? So you're doing this abroad to show that, but how are you using this empowerment, this privilege, or this kind of strength that you've had to pass it on to other girls and other boys as well, to educate them? How are you going to take the youth forward with you?
I already initiated all girls motorbike academy in Islamabad, and I'm teaching young girls. And the second thing is I'm also working for young women for education. Yesterday I was in Sawat and inaugurated a school for girls. So basically my main aim is to work for Pakistan. And to work for Pakistan, it is really important to showcase the soft image of Pakistan abroad, and to, you know.
And you know
one
what
thing
success
I want to ask
ahead.
also, now regarding these schools that you're inaugurating, the girls' school, and you're working on women empowerment now, how are you going to reach out to the families and the communities? Because those are the things that influence their lives. So are you going to, is there any plans to actually do some, like, community-based work? with this?
I already did that because whenever I rode my
You
motorbike.
mean you are doing it? Yeah,
Yes, I am doing
continuous.
that because whenever I rode my motorbike, I used to go to their homes to sit with them, to have a discussion with their mother especially,
Okay.
so that they can feel that, yeah, in Pakistan, with education, we can bring a change.
And what I'm interested in is how many students do you have in All Girls Academy, Motorbike Academy? How many students do you have?
Initially, there are only 5 ladies.
Wow.
Excellent. That's a great start. You got to start from
Yeah.
somewhere.
So this is where we start to change, right?
Yes. So
Excellent.
basically, I have to drive my motorbike to their location to teach them.
Wow.
Fantastic.
So
But
that's
actually, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you
It's
so
been-
much for having us.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, and best of luck for the provincial summit as well,
Yes.
and the future as well. So, guys, the youth is the future. The future is now, and so we have to act, and we have to give people the space and opportunities.
But I think we need to amend it, and this is what we discussed, that youth is the present of Pakistan and the entire world as well. So let's keep it like that. Let's start focusing on our goals from today onwards, and let's try to achieve them step by step, just like Achakzai did, just like Gule Afshan did, and just like many other people did as well. So please do not forget to log on to our Facebook fan page to even let us know about this new set, which you can see, which is a virtual
Well,
set
he was
as well.
dancing today, so clearly he's having the right vibes on him.
All right, let's see. So our Facebook fan page is
Well, this morning.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning without a G.
on Daily Motion and YouTube.
Well, this morning.
And this fabulous repeat is going to be at
11:05, 11:05 p.m. Have a wonderful day. And also, congratulations to the music festival that took place at Art Langer. It was a success. So, congratulations, Pakistan.
So till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Thank you both.